Who's not where?
Chris?
No, it's true. Hopefully she,
Did she respond to you?
no.
Well, I had some too.
The bottle is.
There's almost nothing there. It's like, I mean, it weighs nothing. It's like,
Is it intentional?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all like super thin, lightweight glass. It's like all eco.
Is it more breakable?
That's why there's no capsule on it, because it's just superfluous. And,
Wow, you should talk about that. But will it break more easily?
What?
it might.
You're more breakable?
I would assume so. It's like flimsy as can be.
But it would really make a great candle holder on your table, especially with a lot of drippy wax.
It's
That
miniature.
sounds terrible to me. I would never do that.
That was such a big thing with my parents.
Oh, I
They
know.
had the Italian wicker basket, and they would jam the tall candles, and they'd sit there and build it up.
Very, what was in it? What did they call it?
Chianti.
Chianti. Yeah. Rafino Chianti.
Ay, ay, ay.
The wicker basket. Are we on?
Yeah.
Let's see the countdown.
I didn't do the countdown.
Oh my God.
You don't need.
Well, no, and it's one more.
Oh, gotcha. It's a
Hi,
numbers.
everybody.
Hello, people. Thousands of you people.
All you viewers out there,
Totally.
if you have nothing better to do,
Welcome, everybody, to episode 53 of the Barriques Coffee, Wine, and Treat Show. Thanks for logging in and joining us. Yeah, you like that? When I was pulling the picture from last week, looking at the sparkler lighting, realized I just about burned my fingers off.
well, we did burn the bar.
We put some holes in the bar. It was pretty great. Hope you all were able to join us for 52. It was kind of fun, minus the time when I actually disconnected us for probably 2 or 3 minutes. That was really great.
But I.
We've got a fun bunch of things to talk about tonight, including what was, I had not tried this wine. I wrote up the thing for it, sent it off in our as part of our email deal, the Mathiasen Tandu Red. Mm-hmm. Sounded really delicious. And then I talked to you about it. You said it was really delicious, and then you handed me this bottle, which this is the most bizarre full wine bottle I have ever seen in all my days of wine.
It's hard to believe that it actually holds the same amount of wine.
Well, I'm actually going to call BS because where's the one? Oh yeah, the one that you have in your hand is the one that we already we drank the whole thing already.
I know.
There's no way that's a full bottle of wine.
Well, it's a $7.50 by law. You gotta live.
We're gonna blame our guests. But kind of it's a cool story. I would love to get an opportunity to meet these folks from the Napa Valley area. This wine is not from there. And this wine is also kind of strange insofar as it's not traditional California varietals. It's like a long list of Italian grape varietals.
Montepulciano, Inglianico, Barbera, and a few others.
There can't be many acres of Montepulciano.
No, not in California.
Not in California, for sure. And the story behind these folks, they are, I kind of think of them sort of like Abby from Downdrans. And her crew, all like hardcore scientists.
Yeah, very cerebral.
Yeah, Jill and Steve, I think, are the two Mathiasens that owned the business, started the business.
Sounds like a good Scandinavian name. Double T, double S-O-N.
I don't know.
Might be Swedish.
But you got a botanist, a horticulturalist.
Yeah. Somebody who studied ancient farming techniques in Israel.
Yeah, wrote the book on California sustainability. So clearly their whole shtick is about the dirt and keeping If the dirt is healthy, then everything else, as long as you don't screw up the winemaking process, everything else good will happen from that.
Can't make good wine without good grapes.
That's right. Almost all organic or in the process of becoming organic, and exactly my style of red wine.
Oh yeah,
100%.
very fresh.
Mhm.
And he said it. I had already thought about it. That it's very
Sure.
similar to one of our favorite wines, the Un Litro.
Un Litro.
Yeah.
Woo!
But this one doesn't weigh as heavy as the Un Litro.
No, this is you commented like so. The deal with this bottle, it is a full bottle. It's miniature, so there's even less airspace. There's no punt on the bottle. I'm assuming again to allow for more wine to be in there. We assume it's all done because it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's minimal glass. I mean, this bottle weighs almost nothing. Yeah.
And I have to wonder if you gave this just even too much of a ding and you'd poke your finger right through it.
But there's no capsule on it. Again, it's not important to the overall what's inside the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, any environmental impact that they can reduce,
they
definitely did it. So
yeah, interesting. I wonder if those bottles are used for any other like food stuff that would cause them to be, like mass produced or something like that. I don't know. It's probably just basically just reduced materials.
Yeah.
So the Tendu Red Blend, the only thing we were saying about this wine is it typically retails for $20. The discount wholesale or special price is $15.99, which is actually like that is right there in the zone of being something you should put in your wine rack. Although, if you put this in your wine rack, you might have some troubles with it. You think? Is it going to go in there? It's going to be fine.
It's bigger. I think it's bigger. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm thinking front to back. Like, is it going to basically like if you have a deep wine rack, this is not. It's probably not.
Well, you don't have to worry about the neck sticking out and getting broken off.
How about the case? Is the case short, or are they lying down flat? Do you remember?
Actually, I didn't see the box.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
I didn't see the box that they came in.
Either way, it's really
all right. Anyway, what's that? You need a refill?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, we actually drank it all.
Well, and it's very savory. It's 11.5 alcohol.
I know it's so similar to the Un Litro.
Yeah. It's all about balance, not so much about high alcohol burn.
No, like
it's much more savory.
Yeah, a little tart, and I mean super gulpable. I would have chilled this bad boy down had I had the opportunity. Okay, so that's the Tendu Red. That is available for sale out there on the barriquesmarket.com website. If you go under the events section, CWT Live, and we are, believe it or not, on the April 7th show. That bottle and everything else that we're going to talk about tonight is available for sale, because that's kind of what this whole thing started as, is let's figure out how we can sell some things. Oh, God. Speaking of selling some things, we got
it's fun to talk about wine, though.
I mean, 100%. We do it all the time. It's just in some of these conversations we felt people would enjoy. Hopefully they have. Castoro Cellars is a winery that we are going to be featuring in a tasting on Friday, 7 p.m., the 9th of April. We have their winemaker coming on, Tom Myers, who's going to talk us through a number of their different wine selections. It's again another great example of an opportunity to get access to somebody like Tom, who is literally the gentleman who is producing this wine, intimately familiar with it.
He's a veteran. He's
super veteran.
Yeah, he's a very big veteran in the wine business, especially in Southern Cal.
Yeah. $28.99 is what that tasting pack costs. You can add on additional bottles, but it's a real affordable way to get an opportunity to just talk about wine, have a little bit of fun, have somebody there who really knows the spiel on Castoro Cellars. And certainly as more and more people are, getting vaccinated and able to be together, sans masks and with glasses of wine together, booyah for that. Buying a couple bottles of wine and sharing it among friends is the whole issue around that we had before about, well, what do I do if I don't drink it all? It's probably like completely moot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was moot with me back in last March, but I mean. So that's Castoro Cellars. That's 49. Kristen Millis is there. Yes, I see her. She's ready to roll. She's going to be co-hosting. This is our third event that she's going to be doing with us.
And the reason why she's back is she's good.
For sure, 100%.
Very good.
And so that was the thumbs up. Here you come, Kristen. We're going to talk a little bit about Prosecco. Okay.
Hi.
There you are. Howdy.
Hey.
How are you?
This is amazing technology. I love it.
Ooh.
I know we've grown up so much over the past year.
I mean, what will you think of next?
I know. It's nice to see you again.
It's great to see the two of you together in the same space. That's a beautiful sight.
Yeah, the last time, that's right. When we did Lambrusco, we were in different spots.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we did traditional Italian wine with Evely back in May, I think, 2020.
I've lost track of time.
That's good. That's right. Thank God we all have, right, to a certain extent. Then we just, like, I remember during that event, hey, like somebody threw out the fact, let's do Lambrusco, which would literally have been probably the last thing on our minds. But we did that again with Christian.
Which was a blast.
Oh my God, it was super awesome.
That Modena.
It's great. And now we're going to talk Prosecco, which is very seasonally appropriate. Tell us, and Adami, a brand that we have had in the stores, Finn and I were talking last week. I mean, I think literally probably since the day we opened in 1998 or very shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
What can you tell people about Prosecco that might get them excited enough to buy one of the tasting packs and join us next Friday?
Sure. So thanks again for scheduling this and for selecting yet another topic that I love to talk about. So what's great about what's really important for people to understand and why they should tune in for the tasting is that Prosecco is not just a wine, it's a place, right? So anything that says Prosecco on the label actually has to come from this place in Northeast Italy. And it's not, all homogenous. There's not just one type of Prosecco. There are lots of different nuances within Prosecco, right? Because it depends on if you're at the valley floor in the larger area, and then if you get into the soft, gentle rolling hills of the Treviso DOC, and then if you get all the way up into Valdobbiadene and Conegliano, and you get to these like dizzying altitudes and these really precariously set vineyards, on the hillsides, Prosecco really changes from one location to another. And then the other cool thing is that the winemakers have a lot to say about the final product. So is it going to be brut? Is it going to be, a nice, clean, crisp Prosecco? Is it going to be, an extra dry or dry? Is it going to have a little bit more residual sugar? And with that residual sugar just comes more creaminess and more weight as opposed to sweetness. So there are a lot of different Prosecco to be enjoyed, and I think it's great for people to get more familiar. But at the end of the day, like, this is a sparkling beverage to just be enjoyed on the regular. You don't need a special occasion. These all retail in a range that are, meant for everyday enjoyment and consumption. Bubbles go down nice and easy. We do represent this Adami family. They are 3, now 4 generations in the Prosecco area. And they're real leaders in the appellation. When we talk next week, I'll talk about some of the changes that have taken place in the appellation and how some restrictions have come on board and how Franco and Armando Adami really spearheaded that effort to protect the place and the name and the quality. And they're just, they're a barrel of monkeys, kinds of fun, but their wines are spectacular.
Awesome. I'm kind of curious, Kristen, because my very small market sample of our stores here in Madison, Wisconsin says Prosecco is kind of like on the rise to a certain extent. Is that a true or false statement in like the macro market, like what people, when they're going out and choosing wine, what is Prosecco doing just in general in the wine world?
So it certainly does continue to grow. It is the largest sparkling wine, coming out of Europe at this point. It's surpassing sales of champagne. Champagne, like Prosecco, is a place, and so you are limited to, you can only make as much as like that location, can produce. But in terms of popularity, it certainly is growing because these wines are, they're this wonderful fruit salad, right? Like they're not too sweet, they're not too dry. I love champagne. I had champagne last night with Michael Paré, actually. But these wines don't have, that really bread dough toastiness. They're very enjoyable, bright. They're this beautiful combination of kiwi, grapefruit, pineapple, banana. And so they work really well with all different kinds of foods. You can have them for brunch. You can have them, with a bowl of strawberries and somebody that you like at 5 o'clock. They're wonderful food wines. You can do a really wonderful selection of prosecchi of various styles, and it'll take you kind of all through dinner. So, but I think the affordability and their like really vivacious and really easy to enjoy personality make them a great choice for everyday sparkling wine consumption. And we have a lot to celebrate these days. So I think Prosecco on the regular is a great idea.
So the caveat of enjoying a good Prosecco is having it with somebody you like.
Or it makes being with someone you don't like a little easier.
Very good, very good. And you did throw you threw down Prosecchi. Is that the plural?
That would be the plural, yes.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is.
I'm not going to say Prosecco anymore.
No.
I'm going to have Prosecchi today.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can take everybody to your selection of Prosecchi in the store, right? Yeah. And you can do that with all of your, you can do that with your Lambruschi or your Baroli, that works for a lot of different things.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
I'm sure people will as you kind of alluded to, when we did the Lambrusco tasting, people's perception of what that is like, I'm sure if they did that tasting with us, was completely shattered to see how different those Lambruscos could be. And I'm sure that the Prosecchi that we're going to try, totally dig that word, are going to do the same thing for people. So I'm really fired up. And this is the thing that, like, why have a mimosa when you can have Prosecco? I mean, it's, you don't need juice. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I would say, I certainly, I'm an advocate to never, if you're using wine to cook or mix with anything, don't choose anything that you wouldn't, drink itself, right? Don't put a spoiled bottle of wine into your cooking. Don't start with, an inferior product. But I would say that for a mimosa or a Bellini, yes, I think it's great to use, a great quality Prosecco, and that's I definitely think, elevate your enjoyment of that beverage. But really good Prosecco is so enjoyable, and you can just have it on its own. It doesn't need the addition of anything. And I think the balance of, again, that fruit salad will really come through, and you're like, oh my God, this is just insanely delicious all by itself.
For sure. Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks very much for joining us. We're really looking forward to seeing you and spending a little more time with you next Friday.
All right. Well, I'm excited to talk about the Adami brothers and all the delicious Prosecchi that are available in the different styles. So I'm just going to continue to use that for you. Okay.
Good. Awesome. Thanks, Kristen.
I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Cheers.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Woo. All right. Cool. I'm that much more fired up. So that is the 16th. You can pick up the base 2-pack of Prosecchi for $36.99. Add the big boy for a few bucks more.
No, it's actually
the other way.
It's the vintage.
Yes. Sorry.
And the regular, and then you get another DOCG in the middle.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That correction.
Yeah. Well, you get
these are you do get the big boy. And I will have to say,
they look very similar,
except for the vintage.
Yeah.
Hopefully our gang is scanning the barcode.
Yeah.
So that is a week from Friday, 7 o'clock with Kristen. But the other thing that she sort of alluded to, she just knows a lot about the specific area and spends time talking about the
rules, the
geography, the
Yeah.
food, the whole thing, that I think is one of the reasons why people have really enjoyed.
And if you're going to go travel there, it's kind of a good intro to like a travel log. Like, these are things to expect if you visited this region.
Yeah, cool. So the following week, new tasting that just became available for purchase, the Malay Roquefort tasting pack. This should be kind of fun. We're back to France for the first time in a while. The gentleman that's going to be doing the tasting with us come on, French.
Francois.
Francois, there we
Yes. Good Francois.
$32.98. So again, really inexpensive. You can add bottles onto that. That's the 23rd, 7 o'clock. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk to Francois next week.
We're going to talk to Francois next week.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a 1705. The estate was founded, Saint Emilion. Really cool history, and the family has, like all Bordeaux houses, they have different estate names and things like that. So he's got a lot of information.
Yeah, it should be cool. And again, like a great chance to see, like probably a picture of a number of different wines, different terroirs. Just a good, I don't know. French wine is fun. It's so different in even small variations of space and stuff like that. So it should be a good time. So that is the 23rd. And then you'll notice that the Zorzal Argentinian wine tasting is still out there. It was our first whiff of doing these virtual tastings. It was just we had an opportunity to have the winemaker Jumpy join us for that event, and something came up and he wasn't able to be there. So we rescheduled that event for May 14th, which that's it's good and bad news. The bad news was canceled. The good news is if you haven't signed up, you now have extra time to do so. And we actually put it to a vote to everybody who had signed up, and they're like, yes, we want to make sure that we have Jumpy there. So that is the 14th of May, and there'll be some events that get filled in between the 23rd and the 14th. So that's the tasting schedule. You can find all those out there and available for sale at the barriquesmarket.com website under events and CWT, or under just the events piece, the tastings piece. They're all listed there. And they're a lot of fun. Get some friends involved. And it's just a really fun way to experience wine. I will guarantee you will learn a ton, and you'll have a lot of fun. So I don't know, anything else in the tasting front that you need to mention?
I think we're doing good.
We're doing good. Okay. Speaking of tasting, this tequila, Finn, the Ca Reposado tequila, is in a new bottle.
Yep.
So in the past, the Ca tequilas have come. Well, actually, in fact, I think I sold one of the last ones just the other day in skull-shaped bottles. Really
ceramic bottles.
Bottles, really interesting. This is actually cooler. The sort of tombstone-esque nature of this.
Like
thing.
if this is on either one, I think on your back bar, it pretty much demands your attention.
For sure. But I love the front graphic. I mean, that's pretty wicked.
Each bottling or each age statement, they have a silver, reposado, añejo, extra age añejo, represents the day of the dawn or the Day of the Dead, but from different countries. So this particular one is for Peru.
Okay.
Is this particular bottling? There is one, and I'm trying to research it to see how expensive it is, but it's actually literally a beaded cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's crazy looking, and every one is individual. That thing has to be unbelievably expensive, but it'd be ultimately neat to have.
So you don't usually buy things just because of the package, I'm sure. Especially if somebody brings you something in a skull bottle, you're going to be the first thing you're going to do is like
gimmick.
Yeah, gimmick. But we've carried them for a while, so why the Ca?
The Ca Reposado is actually one of my favorite tequilas for sipping. It's a really nice, like if you like to sip it out of a cognac, glasses is much more. This version is tamer than the previous one because it was a little hot. It was 110 proof. They've tempered this back now, but I like it's 10 months in Limousin oak. It really gives this kind of smooth texture to it. It's a really nice sipping tequila.
Cool. So we thought we'd feature that tonight. We have a limited selection of those bottles in Fitchburg, Middleton, and Monroe Street. Just got put out there. In fact, I'll have to make sure actually all the inventories got loaded because it was one of those last minute additions.
Yep.
So if you can't grab it from one of those 3 places, just hang tight, and in the next hour or so I'll make sure everything's out there. It's not like the cheapest tequila in the world, but you certainly have a keepsake when it's all said and done. And it is like, if you're into sipping tequilas and not necessarily using it for cocktails, my wife is giving the big thumbs up back there. Then it's definitely worth a try.
Yeah, sipping tequilas, it's when they're good, they're great.
I 100% agree. And I grew up in tequila down in Arizona that was not sipping, but it was sipped or something like that. All right, last but not least, we're going to do another little plug for our new coffee from our Amplified coffee lineup. We had done a bunch of CBD infused coffees a number of months ago, and we've got a new decaf coffee that we are infusing with melatonin of all things. So there's actually 17 grams of melatonin in this coffee, and it's built off our most popular decaf, the Downshift decaf. Maybe Finn, just real quick, we sort of pride ourselves on our decaf. We feel like if we put you in a blind tasting between our decaf and one of our regular coffees of a similar origin, you would have a hard time tasting the difference. Why? Where does that come from?
Well, one of the main things about our decafs is they're all mountain water, or what they call Swiss water process, where they extract the caffeine and reserve the flavor, and they introduce that flavor back into the bean. And so when we roast it, and we will taste decaf Colombian against a regular Colombian, it's minute way you could discern the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And so, and the combination in our blend in this particular one is such a nice rich cup for a decaf. I mean, it's just, and in a blind, you would not know. There's just no way.
No, I would agree.
I mean, it tastes like a regular cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Except for this one, it's going to.
You don't have to worry. There obviously always is a little bit of caffeine left over. You certainly, maybe your body sort of from a psychosomatically, when you drink coffee, you naturally stay up or something like that. So this is going to help make sure that doesn't be the case, because the melatonin should help you out.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are pre-order. They are not available quite yet in the stores. We're just kind of taking the temperature on these things to see what the demand has been. We've got a good, healthy number of orders, so that's kind of fun. The first time they'll be available is the 16th, so next Friday. So you order them up until then, and then we'll have them ready.
We are going to roast it fresh to order.
Okay.
And so when those orders go out, it'll be
as fresh as you can get.
As fresh as you can get to being out of the roaster, unless you come by and visit me there.
There you go. Yeah. You're probably not allowed to do that quite yet, though.
Nope, not quite.
So you order it now, pick it up, or have it shipped to you. It'll go out on Friday the 16th. Just kind of fun. And it is available for sale for actually a pretty decent discount on the barriquesmarket.com site. I think typically it'd be $24 a bag, which I know is not inexpensive or not cheap, but with the melatonin and stuff like that in it, and the fact that it is the natural water process, those decafs they don't use cheap beans, because they can actually the water process decaf actually results in coffee that tastes like something.
Yeah.
So try the Nighty Night decaf. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's the show, folks. Appreciate you guys tuning in, spending half an hour with us on another Wednesday. Hopefully we'll be here next Wednesday. Talk a little bit about we got a new special coffee from Africa coming back to us, amongst a few other
new
goodies.
Another winemaker
Another winemaker
and a lineup.
There's the pace of the rosé showing up in the stores tells me that there's going to be a rosé next Wednesday for sure, because we got a lot of rosé coming in. Hope you have a great week, and thanks very much again for helping support Barriques. Cheers.
Have a good week.